Hey everybody, welcome to the RAD LightCast. Recovery and development is the name and casting light is the game. We've got an amazing few guests here, Ben and CJ from Battlegrounds, and Zach here and Dave from CrossFit Radiance, and we're going to get down to the nitty gritty and hopefully give you guys an update on the competition, as well as just, general COVID stuff and ways to stay sane and healthy and grounded through this whole ordeal. So we're excited to get started.
Our competition was initially scheduled, as everyone knows, for April 25th. And because of the COVID-19 situation, it's been, all public events have been canceled. So we fall into that time frame as well. So we have rescheduled the event for September 19th. So, yeah, it's been a while since we worked on it. Yeah, September 19th is a Saturday. It's in September. So that's our new date, and we're excited about it. We're hoping that it's far enough out for us to get through this and still be able to put on a really good competition for everybody.
Nice. Do you think that maybe through the summer it'll kind of die down a little bit, the heat will break through, and then maybe the doors will open, and then maybe, because that seems like a pretty good date, it's kind of the tail end of summer, and if it's kind of like the flu, usually kind of comes back, in the fall. So it seems like that's actually a really good date to kind of have right now, right?
Yeah, we were given a list of dates, and we picked the one that was furthest out. We figured that would give us the best chance for this getting better in time.
Right.
We didn't want to, if we had the choice, they gave us, I think, 6 dates, and they're all, and September 19th was the furthest one out. So we picked that one, figuring that give us the best chance to get through this and still be able to get a lot of people on board again.
Give us a little more time to train too.
Yeah, but of course everything is up in the air right now because everything is tentative right now. So we just ask for everybody's patience and understanding if for some reason that date does change again.
Right.
It
there's
is
a
what it is
possibility.
right now.
Yeah, there's definitely
anything's possible.
Right.
We're just preparing as best we can. For what may come. So, fingers crossed. Hopefully, everything is a go for that date.
Right. I think I can't speak for every other box, but I think for us, if that date gets moved again, we probably have bigger fish to fry, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't think that's going to be a huge.
Yeah, and even if it does, it slides one way or the other, and that is a possibility because Dignity Health is the host venue for LA Galaxy, Showtime Boxing, and a lot of large events. So we're a small fish in that pond over there. So if we do end up sliding, it may not be a bad thing because that same weekend, I believe, is the American Open Ole Championships in Las Vegas. So actually, a few of the competitors that when they heard the date changed to September 19th, reached out to us and said, "Is this set in stone? Because that's the same weekend as AO3."
Right.
So as far as we know right now, yes, that's the date. But anything can change based on
what. And if it does change, we'll get you back on here and hopefully get the info out again. And again, I think most people are going to understand. When we were kind of expecting that it was going to get pushed back anyway, at least for our community. So when we got the official update from you guys, it was like, yeah, that makes sense. I don't think anybody was like, we should just still, make it happen. I don't think that there was anything like that. I think for most folks, it's just like
Yeah, we were happy that we were able to push it because a lot of events just were not able to reschedule at all.
Yeah, they just got canceled.
They were just like, sorry, we're not doing it. So we feel we didn't want to take that experience away from the competitors. It was a huge reason why people signed up because they wanted to do the event at that venue.
Right.
And we didn't want to, a lot of people reached out and said, well, maybe you can do it remotely. And we kind of thought about that idea. But again, in the end, I think, it's not the same as giving people that same experience of doing the event at the venue that they had the CrossFit Games at.
Definitely,
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Out of the boxes you guys deal with, is there anybody that's particularly stands out in terms of dealing with this situation?
It's interesting you say that. We have the luxury of, frequently being in and out of several different boxes because of what we do, and everyone is dealing with it in their own different way. So it's interesting to see how everyone. I mean, some of them are really heavy onto the Zoom workouts and the Zoom meetups, and other ones, certain other ones have not done any. And we've attended a couple of these Zoom workouts with some gyms and seen them. So I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it's just tough. I think for the most part, people do CrossFit. I know we do because we could work out at home if we want, which we do sometimes. But for the most part, people join gyms because of the community, and I think that's the toughest part right now for people to deal with. From what we see, is not being able to connect with the communities that they're so close to.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no real substitute for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like anything with a lot of gyms, and this is just what we see and experience, is that the community is kind of a reflection of the owner and the leadership there, and we've seen a lot of super creative ways people stay connected and stuff like that. So and then obviously we felt a lot of frustration too.
Yeah.
From different owners of different gyms. So
it's real. Yeah.
It's tough. I mean,
definitely.
You're dealing with it right now. So,
yeah.
It is cool to see, now that there is time without members in the gym, like how's people making use of that time or not making use of that time? You know what I mean?
Right.
It could, even if you look at it in a way, it's an opportunity as well, right?
Right.
To, with stress and with forced change comes, an opportunity to see what else you can do, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
I think another thing is for the athlete's perspective, it's what are you doing for me in this time if I'm helping you by still paying my membership? What are you doing for me? And not just that, not even what if they lost their job?
Right.
And they can't pay, like absolutely cannot.
Right.
Like I would feel like if I'm not a gym owner by any means, but I would feel like I would want that person to come back, right? When they could pay.
Oh, yeah.
So like kind of shunning them like, oh, you can't pay, bye-bye.
Yeah, we're family.
Yeah,
so it's like if your family's having a hard time, you're not going to just shut the door on your family. It's a long-term relationship. And I see that with CrossFit communities. And this is kind of I think this is going to be an interesting time to just really see which communities will come together and which ones won't. And I'm sure that there's going to be both on both sides of the platform there. So it's going to be very, very interesting.
I'm on a Facebook group, and their people were just commenting about what their gyms were doing. One person was like, they haven't done anything. They sent out an email saying that they were they were closing down. That's the last email we've gotten from them. They keep taking money out.
Wow.
The email address that they gave us is no longer valid.
Wow.
So
yeah. Well, that's one way. That's one way to deal with it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know where that gym was or who it was, right? It's just on a Facebook group. But
Right.
Oh, man, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, I'm part of the CrossFit affiliate group members page too, so there's obviously a lot of activity there. There's a couple cool groups that popped up. Gym Survival, if you guys are not on there yet, if you're an affiliate owner, there's so much great information in there. Definitely worth checking out. And that's also, this is why we're excited to have you guys on our show today, because you do see a lot of the boxes. You've got a pulse on the greater CrossFit community, and so if you have any advice for affiliate owners and communities, what would be something that you've seen from your vantage point, being involved in so many different communities, that might be of assistance for us that are kind of, just see what's right in front of us?
Wow.
No pressure.
I owned a gym for a short time, and so I have that experience, and I can speak to that in a little bit. not as long as most gym owners out there now. But I think if someone was to ask me what I would recommend based on all the gyms that we see and we know and we talk to, it would be to really remember what the heart of your community is, right? And see how best to approach keeping those people connected. Right. There's lots of, we have several different ways, and technology helps to a degree. But I would say keep doing the things that kept your community together to begin with, that brought people together to begin with. Right. And I think when this is over, that you'll be fine. I mean, even if it's just a phone call, right? To a member, right, or to a group of members, or something like that. I think if your members will want you to still be there when they come out on the other side of this. My daughter had to come home from Utah, and she goes to school in a small college town, and I've still been paying her membership, even though she's not been going there. But it's more because I want that community to still be there when she comes back and she returns. Right. It doesn't do me any good to save a couple, 2-3 months membership if I can't afford it. Right. If I saved three months of membership because she's not there, but then the gym's not there when she gets back. So now she's there with no community to connect with, and exercise and train with and be healthy without there. So for me, the investment is worth it. And maybe that's in a nutshell the message, right? To get to your members. Say, look, this is a big part of your lives, right? This is changed many people's lives, and what keeps you accountable, and all of those great things that keep us connected and keep us active in training, and we want that to still be here for you, right? I think if you convey that core message, like, hey, we're not trying to take your money and then not give you anything for 3, 4, or 5 months, but if we got to survive, and we want to be here when this is over for you to come back to. So absolutely, and if they can, I think they will. Right. But anything can happen if they lose your job. That's completely understandable. But
I did see a really good idea on that same Facebook group. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But, so one gym is extending the membership. Right. So however long we're going through this, right? Like, let's say it's 2-3 months. They're adding that on to the end of the membership so that those are free months for them, right? Like, so or their contract or whatever. Right. So they're not necessarily losing all that money at one time.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And I think that's a wonderful idea because everybody has different contracts or different, time.
Renewal date, so it's staggered for hopefully, right?
Right.
Yeah. Right, and it's not hitting the gym owners all at the same time.
Yeah. I thought that was such a great idea.
It's such a simple idea too.
Yeah,
it makes a lot of sense.
You want that, and it's kind of what they're doing with the rent, right?
Yeah, it's actually.
Yeah. So why not do it that way?
Definitely. Yeah. I think that's So these are the types of ideas that I think are good to put on the table to just see what fits. For every box is going to be a little bit different, and so definitely that one thing that you just shared right now might be that's what we need to do, and that's going to be fantastic, and we hope that that works out.
Yeah, and I think it's simpler than I think a lot of gym owners and coaches might realize. I think if you're not putting classes on throughout the day, what's that, 12 hours of downtime that you guys are doing, making the most of your time. You started a podcast, you're putting out video content, you're trying to make the most of that time. But if you're not doing those things, how many phone calls can you make in 10, 12 hours? Check in on a member, ask them how they're doing, ask them how they're, have the conversation with them. Right. And how many coaches are really doing that? I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I guess it's just a matter of what you just said. If you were normally, have 8 to 12 hour days anyway, now that we can't open the doors, we just need to shift those hours to do something, right? Yeah. Not just an email and then that's it. So yeah,
you'd be surprised. A simple phone call to check in on someone, say, hey, I know you're dealing with this elbow, and if a member knows that you care and you remember those little things, and you still want to coach them and through this thing. I think it'd go a long way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It's crazy because when you're mentioning, we're doing a lot of video content, and as a box owner, I can't speak for everybody, but for me, it's just always like, are we doing enough? Like we're doing the videos right now, but what is this taking away? Like this energy is taking us away from something else that might be more valuable for our members right now, for our community during this time. And so we're kind of, we're just, I think a big part of it, what I would share, as maybe advice that's helped us, is just be very open with your community, ask for that feedback. It's like, is this, you guys like what we're doing? Should we keep doing this? We've got some other ideas on the table. If you guys have some ideas of what you want to see to help support, I think that dialogue goes a really long way. Just because then, everybody's participating and they feel like they're empowered, and we've had so many great ideas actually come from our community. And I think that's a cool thing when a community member presents an idea and then we roll with it and we make it happen, and they're like, wow, like it's happening, And so I think there's some power behind that, definitely.
Yeah. And it's fun too,
Yeah, and nobody knows your members better than you do. Like we could sit here all day and give ideas, right? But somebody could be like, "Oh, my members won't like that." You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, nobody knows your members more than the owner.
Right. Yeah. And even, for me, I know my members, but the COVID changes things too. So even though I know them in times of peace, in these times it's a little bit different. So even now it's like we're trying to check in as often as possible. Be like, hey, how are things going? What can we do?
Yeah, I think that's huge. If you look at it just from like your friends and family, checking in on them, that means a lot, right? Because it's tough when everyone's cooped up inside, you're going crazy, right? Families, we're happy to get out today, but it's everyone's under a lot of stress.
Yeah.
And sometimes just checking in. We were here yesterday. We had a 3-hour conversation, and it didn't really feel like we were doing a podcast.
Right.
I think a lot of us had like this. Yeah. Hey, we need some.
We just need a
human contact.
Right. We got our masks.
Yeah. I think of just connecting with your community, it would be a huge for a lot of these gyms. I don't think it takes a great deal of technology to be able to do that,
Yeah, we have everything we need, You just got to make that initiative to reach out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for those of you guys tuning in, if you're not too familiar with CrossFit or things of that nature, this is probably, hopefully beneficial for you guys to just see how small businesses, you might own a different type of business. We had a guest who owns a small restaurant, for example. So it's a different thing, but definitely we're all feeling the heat. So, and actually, so for folks that are tuning in that are not CrossFitters, this might be a good entry to just speak on what is Battlegrounds, what's the origin story behind Battleground events. I keep saying Battlegrounds, like, if you remember Mulligan,
yes.
the golf, I always thought it was Mulligans, like, let's go to Mulligan's.
Oh, it is Mulligan,
But it's Mulligan, like, obviously. And but for some reason, every time Battlegrounds, it's always plural. Like, there's more than one ground for that.
Well, maybe because for a while, they were doing more than one event a year. But yeah, Battleground Socal. It actually started off as like the Battle for Carson was like 2014 was the very first one, and even rewinding before that, we organized a CrossFit for Special Needs program, and at the time we were using gym space in Carson at a gym called CrossFit Unexpected. And we have special needs kids and their parents, and we'd bring them in twice a week. We'd have behavioral therapists and CrossFit coaches that would basically program and coach CrossFit for the kids and for the parents. And we were doing that for a while, and one of the parents actually came to me and said, hey, why don't you do a competition, and we can use it as a fundraiser to pay for the gym space or insurance, the behavioral therapists, things like that. And he said, hey, it's a great idea. So we invited 2 or 3 of the local gyms in Carson. And it was great. Almost got shut down by the city as so many people showed up. Outgrew the venue. and each year we just, we found a bigger gym the next year, and I found a bigger place the next year, and then 5, 6, 7 years later, I think we've had maybe over 750 athletes at our peak.
That's amazing.
And then because of the capacity, we last year we decided to cut it by about 100,
to go to our dream spot.
Right.
That was our goal. Like, oh, babe, one day we're going to be where the CrossFit Games were. That's where we're going to be one day.
Yes. So, we cut back by about 100 competitors, mainly to make the flow of the day and the heats more manageable for us.
Right.
Keep our heats on time.
And our judges.
From killing us. Right? Be able to give them some breaks and manage the space a little bit better. So
that's great.
Yeah, we have a wait list of about 100 people too. So
wow.
We're hoping as we get closer, we will be able to maybe squeeze some of them in, but no guarantees yet.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are doing something right, if there's a waiting list. So
I think that we've been able to grow and stay popular. We were talking about this yesterday, but because we put so much back into the event, whatever we kind of make from the event, and as long as we cover our costs in terms of paying our therapists and our gym space and our other needs, we put right back into the experience of the competitors.
Right.
And I always have this conversation when things get stressful with CJ. I said, as long as we're having fun, babe, as long as we're having fun.
He says that to me, but it's the opposite.
Because, as I've been doing CrossFit for over 10 years and I love it. And I myself know that I'll never make it to regionals, right? I'm realistic. I'll never make it, to the CrossFit Games, but how cool would it be to be able to provide that experience to an average dad or mom or a person that can feel like step on the competition floor and they feel like, wow, this must be what it's like to compete at the games, at this venue. And we try to give them, the same kind of experience as the games.
You guys knock it out of the park. Like, it really does feel like we're a part of the games or something. It's an incredible feeling. I mean, I played a lot of sports growing up, and this takes the cake. Like, I've played a lot of games and stuff like that, and I never got quite the feeling that Battleground comps have given me.
Well, that's our goal.
Thank you.
It's super cool.
Seriously.
It really is.
Yeah. And that's kind of the only way, I mean, from all of the people, that we've met over the years that have produced CrossFit style competitions, locally, it's really tough, right? You don't do it because you're going to be making money doing it, right? Yeah. We do it because we have a passion for CrossFit. We have a passion for what we do, and of course, we're passionate about our cause as well.
Yeah.
And we feel very fortunate that this has allowed us to meet so many people in the CrossFit community, not just here, in the South Bay, but all over Southern California and all over the country, really, when it comes down to it. Yeah. And I guess what I want people out there to remember is when we do come back, there's so few opportunities now, especially in California, now that the games are gone.
Right.
And who knows if the sanctionals will ever come back or not. But so few events left that allow us to come together as a community, right?
Right.
Me and you were talking yesterday about how well California did, right? And when it comes to this COVID spreading. Right. But I said, it doesn't surprise me because, especially in LA, but Southern California, we're very compartmentalized with everything, right? Yeah. We're compartmentalized, we get in our Prius and we're on the 405 and we're like in our bubble all day long. So it makes sense, we're not on a subway forced to be close to people that we don't know. And,
right.
Even in CrossFit gyms, they're kind of like, they have their own little bubble of a community. So keep that in mind when it comes time to do these events. This is a time where we all can kind of come together and meet each other and bond as a community. So that's great to see. I love being part of that experience, really.
definitely. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, think of all the people that you've known and connected to that you may not have if not for a competition that you've seen each other and trained for with.
Exactly.
Right.
Even if they have their own community, and you were kind of mentioning some areas, I mean, it's more, racially, like, more Asians or more Hispanics or, or Black or whatever. And when they all come together, though, under that bigger umbrella of competition, I never felt any separation. Mm-hmm. I remember actually at the last event, I was cramping really bad, and the event was about to start, and I was just panicking. I was like, my legs are cramping on me. They're about to start, and a guy, I don't even know who he is. He's not part of my box, but he got off the rower on the heat that was about to start. He's like, you need some salt? Jumped off the rower, ran real quick, came back, threw some salt in my lap, and hopped back on the rower ready to go. I'm just like, thanks. Wow. And then somebody else is like, here's a hypervolt. I'm like, oh my God, thanks, you guys.
Wow.
And got me able to get up and put in the work that I needed to put in. And that was amazing. That was an amazing experience.
That's awesome.
And how much of a full circle did that come? I remember seeing you when we were in Long Beach.
Yeah.
Someone else cramped up. And we thought we were going to have to call the ambulance. We didn't know what happened to him. He's on the ground writhing in pain. And here comes Day out there with with all of his PT tools. And it's like, what are you doing to him, Day? And yeah, he had cramped up, and you were there on scene. The EMT was there too, but she had no idea what was going on.
She came out with an ice pack.
Yeah. But yeah, you fixed them up, and we're all part of this community. So
yeah, it really is such a tight community. I mean, other boxes, for example, we didn't have access to a worm to practice with, but 1440, they were able to source it, and they let us come over and practice. Yeah. And I hear that throughout other boxes too. It's not just the local communities here, but San Pedro, Carson, everywhere. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everybody's just come on in and work out. Let's work out. So
it's amazing how close we've gotten to so many boxes. Like if someone asks us which CrossFit do you go to, we're like, well,
all of them.
We're like, yes.
All of them.
Yeah, it's cool, and that's purposely why we put our briefings in our judge briefings and volunteer briefings. We disperse them out throughout. We try to do it throughout the county. Yeah. Orange County, LA County, South Bay, so that people are forced to like, hey, these guys, are down the street and we never met them, so. Yeah. That's really cool to be a part of that process as well. I mean, we send out workouts.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. Of all things, I mean, it's supposed to be a competition where everybody's battling each other, and we've kind of kept to ourselves, within the CrossFit kind of ecosystem. And it wasn't until Battleground, when we started competing, we got introduced to 1440 Max and Joe over there, and when there's like, yeah, you guys need use the worm, come on in. Like they were so accommodating, and we're like, you guys are freaking incredible. Like this is amazing. Thank you so much. We wouldn't have had a chance to play with the worm otherwise. Who knows what that would have looked like.
Easy there, Dave.
Yeah. So Max and Joe let us come over and play with their worm. So,
thank you, Max and Joe.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. So there will be worms in Battleground. We're going to a 2-man worm. But for, I believe, intermediate and beginners, beginners will use 3 people on the 2-man worm.
Nice.
And
it's 150 pounds?
150 pounds, yeah. Same for everybody. Yeah. And then intermediate has the option. If the third person wants to jump on and help, they can do that too. So some strategy there.
Gotcha.
Yes. But they lose that time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They lose the cows.
The cows.
The Star Wars. It's a trap.
Yeah. Do it if you want to.
Yeah, we love the worms. So we train, me and her, with the worm, and it kicks our butt.
Yeah. That was the first time I think I've ever used anything like that type of an implement for training, and definitely,
it's a total body workout. It's crazy. Yeah.
And that's as functional as you can get, because how often in real life do you have the perfect symmetry of the weight being even on both sides and the perfect grip to pick something up?
Right.
And those worms are amazing. Shout out to James, because they really made an awesome worm.
They feel good, like just the weight of it, the balance of it, and they just seem like they're durable, like really,
and that's
really,
Compete
really.
Force, by the way.
Compete Force,
Compete Force.
Definitely.
Yeah, when you think about it from a programming standpoint, when we run the competitions, we like, how do we, program a workout that requires a team effort that works together, that's safe.
Right.
So, you can get injured doing anything, but
Right.
if you drop a 150-pound barbell on someone's foot, someone's going to be hurt, right?
Yeah.
If you drop a worm on somebody's foot, they won't feel good, but they're not going to the hospital.
Right.
So it's another cool implement about that type of training. It forces people to work together as a team, to be coordinated, and it's much safer than a lot of other elements that we've tried to use in the past as well.
Yeah, that worm was badass. I gotta say,
it was so cool.
It was so cool. Like just like, all right, ready, like all together, just like, and seeing your teams out there too, like working together, moving that giant worm and stuff. That was really the
Did you guys compete at the event in Long Beach?
Yeah.
Well? Okay.
Yeah.
That was the co-ed teams.
Yeah.
That was
right. I shouldn't. Once they're done, we're like so focused on the next event. We're like, what?
I couldn't even tell you. He's like, oh yeah, remember that workout that we did 3 years ago? I'm like, I don't even know what the workouts are this year.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we have our jobs. His job is the workouts. My job is the heats.
Nice.
So how do you guys come up with the workouts? How do you program them?
A lot of brainstorming.
A lot of wine.
We reach out to a lot of wine. We reach out to a lot of box owners as well, and we steal a lot of things. I mean, like anyone, right?
Battleground last year, we came up with the workouts when I was like straight out of surgery, so I was still on medication, and I'm like, let's do this.
Yeah, and programming for a comp is so much different than programming for workouts in a box, in my opinion. Mainly because you got to think about, okay, if you're programming the perfect workout, but that equipment requires changing in and out every heat, then it's the furthest thing from the perfect workout for our purposes.
Right,
so,
logistically.
Yeah, so that's a huge factor, because a lot of people send us great workouts, great suggestions. I'm like, this is an awesome workout.
Right.
But we're never going to be doing heavy deadlifts, right?
Yeah.
Changing out, 6 plates per barbell in between each heat, probably not going to happen.
Right.
Probably never going to have another ladder again. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
That was awesome if you
had
that experience.
It was fun.
That was amazing.
It was a nightmare for us.
Ladders are cool to see, to watch, to film, and probably to compete, I'm sure.
It was amazing,
But to try to coordinate 700 people through a ladder when you have no idea when they're going to finish.
That's a lot.
That's beyond even what CrossFit is doing, because they have just, for the ladders, they've consolidated the athletes down to
20 people.
Yeah.
Geez.
Top 20. Yeah.
That's crazy, yeah.
Maybe that's an idea for a plus.
There you go.
+1.
Plus one. Maybe. Doubtful, but.
Could be a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
But usually we like to program like a strength workout and, a chipper. And now we've gone from the 3+1 to just 3.
Right.
So we have one strength workout, and then 2 kind of longer workouts. And that's the format that we're going for this year. Because we want to get everyone in, not super early where they have to wake up at 5 o'clock to get there and get warmed up.
Right.
We want to start around 9, hopefully 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then get everyone out by 2 to 3 o'clock.
3:30.
We'll see.
Right.
And that's
Filipino
the first
time.
thing. That's the first thing I bring up to people that say, "Hey, you should be able to get a lot more people." Well, yeah, we could probably do 1,000 people, but we'll be there till 8 o'clock at night.
Right.
And if you want to wait that long, most people don't. I know we don't.
Right.
So we got to get everything broken down and off the floor.
Yeah.
Usually by 9 p.m.
You kind of usually want to, because if it gets too late, then everybody starts having to go, and then it starts to kind of die down, and it's not even over yet.
Yeah.
And so I think that's definitely, there's so many things to think about, right?
Yeah.
When you're putting these things together.
So I'm the Debbie Downer in the whole situation. He comes up with
You
these.
need that, though.
He comes up with these crazy ideas, and they're great ideas. But I'm just like, yeah, but what about this?
Right.
And he's like, oh, I hate you.
But yeah, you definitely have to have that balance, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's where we're at.
Kind of makes me sad that I can't compete in it, right? Like, I want to start competing again. My shoulder's getting better.
Right.
And I'm like, dang.
Yeah.
Coolest one. I can't even do it.
Right.
I'm just kidding. There's lots of cool.
Gotta get you in there.
Yeah.
They'd be like, I don't think she.
And do you want to talk a little bit about like the thought process behind the prizes, for example? Because I know you guys don't do cash prizes, and there's a really, we talked about it yesterday, and that's such a great, it makes a lot of sense, and I think that's a great thing to touch on.
Sure. Because a lot of people have asked us about that. Like, you don't give cash prizes, are you just pocketing all that money? I'm like, really? Yeah. Do you know how much it costs to rent the StubHub Center or Dignity Health?
No.
But more so than that, and we talk about this many times, my favorite athlete, my favorite competitor is the beginners and the intermediate. Nothing against the RX athlete. You guys might be RX athletes. Nothing against you guys, or the elite athletes for that matter. But since we enjoy that vibe more so than any other vibe when it comes to watching them compete, we just see, once you eliminate kind of that I don't know, would call it pressure, but that component of the competition, it takes down the intensity for a lot of the RX athletes, because all the judges are not CrossFit Games level judges. They're volunteers. They're people that are in your box.
Right.
And the last thing that we want to see or feel or hear is an athlete getting upset because they felt that there were no rep, or this judge was judging a certain way and that judge unfairly gave someone their reps and they're getting into their faces. And we see it anyway, even without the cash prizes.
Right.
But we noticed that it just dials down the intensity that much more, because it's about fun for us.
And for a good cause.
Yeah, like we don't want people to forget why they're there.
Yeah.
We're there to have fun. That's why we have a strict zero tolerance. If you yell at my judges, you yell at my staff, you're out. I don't care. You're gonna get out. I don't.
The point.
Yeah, sorry, you shouldn't be
There's
like that.
There's plenty of other competitions that will cater to that.
Exactly.
More of the, the focus being on who's the elitist, like the fire breather.
And we want people to be competitive. Obviously, it's a competition, right? But at the same time, be respectful. There's no reason to not be respectful in any aspect of life, right?
And we've been to other competitions and seen some really, really, what's a nice way to put, disappointing behavior from athletes because of that, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah. Well, some of them were our athletes that we've seen that we were like, wow. Like, I've never seen them act like that at our competition.
Oh, wow.
Right.
But it's that cash prize.
They want that
bring something out.
$1,200 bucks. Instead of that $500 bucks, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's a big reason for it. And to be honest, I would much rather put those resources back into the experience, being able to have a venue like we have, or give all the competitors a really cool gear that we give them with their name on their shirt and their nameplate, and
really cool stuff.
Being able to bring all their packets out to their boxes, and all that stuff that we do to make it just that extra special for them.
It's a full package deal that you're given, and it feels really good from the competitor side. Yeah.
And we were talking yesterday, obstacle course races, hidden fees, all this stuff, and you just get like a little medal thing and a shirt, and call it a day. Yeah, the experience is so different. Like, I feel like the cost of entry is actually really, really good for how much work you guys are putting in and how much emphasis you're putting in on the experience. Like that's actually, you guys were our first competition, and we haven't really looked anywhere else because it's almost like it's hard to compete.
We always try to have a positive energy when it comes to our competition. We like everyone to compete, but not so much so that they're not having fun.
Right.
What's the point, really? For me, seeing like the female beginner third place team, like the look on their face when they like, we made the podium, right? That to me is probably the coolest thing to see. I remember one year, someone got into all of our boxes and stuff, supposedly volunteers, and a bunch of the medals were gone. And other stuff too that we give to the podium winners. And so the way we do our podium is we start with the beginner, intermediate, and we finish with RX athletes.
Right.
And we got to the RX athletes and we were out of medal. What happened? We didn't realize until later what had happened.
Right.
But in retrospect, one of our close friends that help us out every year, she said, I know of all the people not to have medals, you know, the RX men's team, first place. And I go, yeah, but I'm much more okay with that because I'm sure those guys are on the podium every competition.
Right.
If I had not had a medal for like the third place beginner male team or female team, and seeing their heart just break, oh, you're out of medals? That would have really bothered me a lot more. I mean, I made it up to all the RX. I sent them a bunch of stuff afterwards and had some cool trophies made just to kind of say, hey, I'm sorry we ran out of medals, but I'm glad that it happened in that way. If anyone didn't have a medal at the end, those guys understood.
Right.
And we didn't have to break the heart of any beginners out there, which would have been harder to see, I think.
I mean, they were super cool about it, so it wasn't really that bad. They were like, oh, okay, you know, they probably have like 18 medals, you know? Like, they were like super buff guys.
And they're like, we still won.
There's no cash prize.
So they were super cool.
But she has a cool story about one of the mothers from.
So the last time I competed, I think it was like 2017. I know I had hair in there. It was like driving me crazy. The mother, she got third place and she was just crying and she was so happy. And she just had a baby 6 months ago. And she's like, I never thought my body would ever be able to do this. And now she's like, I look at her Instagram now and she's like, super like buffed out and I'm like, damn, like it's amazing to see how it's changed her, right? Like she went from she had just started CrossFit. I don't even know how long it was before that, but she's just a super cool person and she's like, I love it. Like it showed me that I can do it. So
that's
it's
cool.
pretty amazing.
And you guys facilitated that, you know,
that's
really
what
awesome.
I go to whenever I'm having a hard time.
And she has a child, I think, with special needs, so that made it even more special to see.
That's true, Because again, we're not too versed in other competitions that are happening, but I would imagine, like, you know, a lot of them are not for nonprofits. You know, they're not for a cause. You know, they could be just, you know, gyms basically running their own events, and it's kind of part of their business plan, right? And so, what is kind of the general terrain of that? Is it mostly kind of like that, or do you see other competitions that have kind of, you know, they set it up for a cause? I mean, I remember, you know, barbells for boobs and stuff like that, and you know. Yeah,
there's a few. There's something for cancer. What is that one?
I don't.
They go through different gyms, I think. Battle for Cancer.
Oh, okay.
Battle.
I've heard of that one.
Cancer.
I think the painkiller guys are part of that.
Yeah,
and they're in Europe too, I believe. Yeah, and if they're not part of a cause like that, it's fine. I think for sure. We learn a lot from other competitions. Like, someone was like, oh, babe, look. Like when we went to the last regionals we went to at Del Mar, everyone's like focused on the competition floor. Like, wow, look at this, look at that. And then we're like looking behind. We're all like the machines.
Like, look at those carts that they're bringing in.
If we only had like a forklift, babe. And he was like, see all the barbell. So we're geek out on that part of it.
That's
cool. So we learn a lot. And we learn a lot like what we'd like to aspire to, obviously. And then we learn a lot like, whoa, babe, did you see that?
Let's make sure that never happens.
Where do you guys want to take Battlegrounds? How far? How big?
Honestly, my dream is to be in the stadium at StubHub. That's always been our dream. So now we kind of have our foot in the door.
Yeah.
Right.
Every time for years we would drive past StubHub and we'd be like, one day
Wow.
we're gonna be on
awesome.
that billboard. Like,
yeah.
You know how they had the CrossFit Games up there? I think that's my dream.
That's her dream.
That's my dream.
I think regardless, for me, of how it grows, whether it goes bigger or smaller or stays how it is now, for me, as long as we're having fun and the vibe is positive and the energy is positive and we keep meeting people like you guys and bringing our community together in this way, as long as that is like the primary like driving force of what we do, then I'm cool with however it evolves into.
In the stadium.
That's cool.
To be honest,
the stadium would be more fun.
To be honest, from a event organizer standpoint, the stadium is horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
From a competitor standpoint, it's the most awesome thing ever, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what that's what you see at the games.
Yeah.
But from an organizing standpoint, it's
you can't drive on it.
You can't drive your vehicles on it.
Yeah.
You can't even put certain types of carts on it.
Right.
I love doing events in like Long Beach Convention Center, like what we did last November.
Right.
From a logistics standpoint, it's awesome because the floor is dead flat, right? It's cement.
Yeah.
Right.
So you don't have to worry about, grading or
Right.
the surface being, you don't have to worry about damaging the turf.
Right.
It's air conditioned. You don't have to worry about rain. So I would love, I don't know if the competitors would like to be able to do that Battleground maybe inside a convention center one day.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's gonna sign off on that, but
Well, we kind of got a taste of that, right?
Yeah.
It was a part of a bigger convention that was going on. And,
yeah.
That was really
That was
cool,
pretty cool
actually.
too. Yeah.
Fallout was cool.
Yeah.
Definitely different experience
Yeah.
than being outside.
Right.
I think it's amazing. It's just super hard to work with, like the convention centers, right? Like there's so much hidden stuff that they're like, you want this? Well, guess what?
Let me call 3 different union representatives.
You have to pay $1,000 an hour for each one of them to work.
Wow.
That's right.
So, there's so
I
many.
love unions.
Yeah, for sure, but
it's tough. Unless you're like, Toyota and you go in there, no problem, whatever you need. But
we don't have those blank checks yet.
So that is a challenge. And also trying to run a CrossFit event with the size and number of athletes that we usually run within a Fit Expo is super challenging. Because we're setting up thousands of pounds. A rig alone is 6,000 pounds.
Wow.
Not to mention the other equipment that we have. And you can imagine 200 other vendors trying to set up their 10 by 10 space in the aisles that you need to get large.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And everyone's trying to get it set up in time. And I mean, once it's set up and going, it's awesome, right? Because it's lots of people. There's lots of.
Well, even last year though, we ran into the problem of them being too close. At Fallout 2.
Right.
The other vendors were way too close. Like
like the powerlifting we were like on top of each other.
Oh my gosh, that lady was yelling at so many people.
Wow. Yeah.
And we know our demographic, we know our community, but like the other organizers of the event are more on the bodybuilding side.
Right.
And so they know their demographic really well. And when they were saying, and make sure your people are, doing this and doing that, and I'm like, I don't think you understand. Our guys, our people are gonna come with an ice chest and a tarp, and they're gonna sit that thing down right in the middle of your beautiful ballroom, right, next to your tanning station, and they don't care, right?
Right? We'll train wherever, whenever, we'll set up.
So I think it was a learning experience for both them and us.
Right.
They're a lot
That's a good way
different when it comes to what their community like. And I say the reason why they like us is our competitors come out, they bring their friends, they bring their family, they bring their kids.
Right.
And so they get a lot of traffic coming in and out of the expo.
There's a lot of cross-pollination.
Correct.
it was pretty cool to see some of the other events that I really just never had an interest personally in. But yeah, a lot of our members were, on the downtime, kind of checking out some of the other, athletes in different sports and stuff. And it's good. It's good for the soul.
Yeah. What was that one that was there that I was like super? It was so cool. They were
those knights.
Yeah,
they
the
were
knights.
like an armor.
Did you the armor?
Did you see those guys?
Yeah,
I heard about it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I got so excited.
I don't know if it should be a thing.
One guy was like, "Oh yeah, I was in Vegas last night and I broke all my ribs." I was like, "What the hell?"
Wow.
Oh, man.
It's interesting to see.
Yeah.
Interesting to see. Yeah, I mean, they're just hacking at each other with those metal suits on.
That's crazy.
They got maces and swords.
Yeah.
Right?
You didn't get to see them, dude?
No, I heard of that. That sounds like.
Oh man, they were right by the worm on the second day.
Oh, wow.
That was awesome.
I vaguely remember like boxing or something, or
Yeah, that.
yeah.
Kickboxing.
yeah.
Arm wrestling.
It was just
arm wrestling.
It was just a party. Like it's just like so much going on, It's just like sensory overload in like all the best ways. Yeah. Just talking about it right now, it's like I want to go back there.
It was cool. It was cool. And a lot of Fit Expos since then have reached out to us, and mainly because they see the numbers of people come out. But
right.
Yeah. We've said, it's just too difficult to. We love it when it's all up and running, right?
Right.
It's actually nice.
Yeah.
But getting it to that way
there.
with the time window that we have is just not manageable for CrossFit.
Again, like just being a nonprofit and having so many people just, community coming and donating their time and energy and their superpowers,
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of a testament to what you guys have created, you guys have a vision, and it's definitely, I would say it's very selfless, it's for the community, for people that are in need. And I think, it brings out the best in us because we as humans, I feel like we want to help. We want to make an impact. Mm-hmm. One of the things that drew me into CrossFit was just being able to be in a setting where I could yell as loud as I possibly can, cheering somebody else on. Mm-hmm. And that's just such a freeing feeling to just feel like you're making an impact, in somebody else's life, supporting them, I think that's just the best feeling in the world. So yeah.
We have some amazing staff and some pretty wonderful judges who come out and volunteers, and I think it was Fallout 2. That was the one before the last one, right? We just had Battleground not too long ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I
don't even know what day it is anymore.
I know, right? It is today.
Anyway, so just a couple competitions ago, we had our first time that we got to sit down and actually watch our own competition. Like, we have never been able to do that. We've always been like, here, do this, do this. But our staff, like,
that's
oh
awesome.
my gosh, they killed it that day. Like, absolutely just everything. Like, never, I have to shout out to Melanie, and she took care of everything. She was like, well, I'm not going to take this to CJ unless, I don't have a solution.
That's so amazing.
So, oh my gosh, they killed it.
That's
they
awesome.
did so well. They're amazing.
Awesome. I remember seeing you guys every now and then on the floor, and you're like, hey guys, and you guys are like, just, you guys are like just focusing on so many things at once.
Yeah, I don't even see people. Like,
right?
I feel if anybody thinks I'm rude, I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to be rude.
Never got that vibe. Yeah.
I am just on a track, and I have to get to that.
Absolutely.
Especially like 80% of the time someone's coming to talk to you, is something that needs to be fixed.
Right.
So when someone's coming to me, I'm like, oh, what is he? What happened, right? And then they just say, hey, how you doing? I'm like, oh, hi, how you doing?
It's like slight pause.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, yeah, no, everything's good.
Yeah, I think I snuck a hug in at one point for you, man. I was like, I'm just gonna give you one.
Thank you, Dave.
Oh, Day, you like had my shoulders out, that fallout. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, usually that was the very first time Fallout 2 that we were able to actually sit and watch things kind of unfold. We always make a point to watch our special needs kids compete.
Yeah.
Other than that, we're
cool,
just crazy trying to get things done. All the stuff that we try to make sure no one sees.
Yeah. It only took 7 years for them to get to enjoy. 7
years.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have the same core crew, and it grows a little bit every year. Our head judges.
Yeah.
Brandon, Rowena, now Riza, and Gordon.
They're wonderful.
Yeah, and they're all from different gyms.
Yeah.
They're different gym communities. Gordon owns his own box, and Brandon's from LAX CrossFit. Reza's from Signal Hill CrossFit. Rose from
I don't know where she goes
Sense,
now.
Sense Gym.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they're so cool to see that. And same with the judges, like the line judges. They're all from all different corners of LA and Southern California. Yeah. That's so cool to see everyone come together.
And some of them, just so everybody knows, we've tried to, give them information and everything, but some of them are even our Train for Autism CrossFit parents that come out and volunteer, right? So.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah, so they just want to help out any way they can, and we're like, hey, we need judges.
Right.
So we try to train up as much people as possible, but so.
Yeah, if anyone's out there who wants to judge,
yes,
please let us know.
Yeah, how do you become a judge?
Sign up.
Yeah, we have links on all of our social media, how to sign up to be a judge. And it has in the online form, you can put what your experience is. And then when we have our kind of judge coordinator reach out to you, we make sure you get all the information ahead of time. We have kind of a movement booklet that we send everyone out ahead of time. And then we have a judge's actual briefing where we bring in and we go through all the workouts and all the score sheets and make sure that you're comfortable. And then we assign you to a head judge, and each head judge is assigned to one of the 3 workouts. And then hopefully you know all of the workouts and you can go to anyone we assign you to, or if you need to get pulled and go to a different one, you won't be completely clueless. But the main thing is we get you comfortable with the workouts, and we pay the judges $50 for their time.
Get a shirt.
You get a shirt, you get some cool gear, you get the best seat in the house.
Right.
Yeah.
People with their shirts off. That's how I always try to sell it. I'm like, hey.
Right.
It's a tough job, right? It's a tough thing to ask because you got to be dialed in and focused the whole day.
Yeah.
I know.
There's a lot going on, a lot of distractions.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it's like just having focus in general is so hard for what's the average attention span? 4 seconds? It's declining every year.
I already forgot what you were saying.
So for a judge to just be focused on the workout the entire time, that does take a lot of, psychic energy.
And these guys, judges they like judging. This is what they do. They judge everywhere.
Right.
Which is what we've seen. So we do appreciate those guys coming out. It takes a very special, patient, and focused person to do that.
Yeah.
And really, that's the limiting factor. So anyone complaining that we don't have enough heats and enough competitors, the limiter, which most people don't understand when it comes to competition, is the number of judges.
Right.
Because we can have 4 or 5 stations with 20 stations each, right? And we can, if we had enough judges for each of those stations, we can run 1,200 athletes through the day. But
maybe the ladder can come back.
Keep wishing, Dave. Keep wishing.
Just got to get more judges.
Guys, we need more judges for that
get
ladder.
The judges out there.
Come on, get to the judging.
Without judges, then you're that limits everything.
Yeah.
Really. So we appreciate the judges that we do have.
For sure, because we have so many people sign up. And don't show up.
Right. Yeah.
So I think the last time was so much better, but there was one year I remember it was a disaster. We had to ask people in the audience to judge because I think we had a 20%.
More than that. I think it was 30 or 40% no-show.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy because we go through the whole, preparation process, and we actually send mass emails.
Right.
We send mass texts. We get confirmations. We have the briefing. We give out T-shirts, and you'd be surprised going through that whole process.
Right.
And people have followed up all the way up to that point, and then the day of the competition, just miraculously decide, I'm good. I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But nothing surprises us anymore.
I've literally
seen it all now.
Yeah, I literally messaged somebody the night before and said, "Hey, are you gonna be there?" Yeah. I'm all ready to go. Didn't show up, so I was like, "All right."
Yeah.
Not just judges. I mean, the MCs and DJs and people. Are like, wow, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That probably kills me more than anything else. I'm cool if someone can't do something, just tell me.
So we can fix it before.
It's easier if you tell me, I can't make it, right? Because then I can find somebody else.
Right.
But to say, I'll be there, and now I'm stuck.
It's like 8 o'clock the morning of. They're like, oh, I can't make it, and we're like,
that sucks.
Guess I'm gonna be DJing today.
I got my iPhone, baby. That's all we need.
I think this is a really wonderful way for people to just kind of see how much work goes into these events, and it really does make sense, and it really does show.
Yeah. Someone said, told me like a lot of these comps are being held in boxes, right?
Right.
And I said, if we ran our competition in a box, we could probably do it every week.
Right.
It's such a huge leap from having a competition inside a gym than to have it on site where you have to take literally everything that you need to do it there.
Right.
Not that having it in a gym is not hard, but
it's just different.
It's different. It's so much different. Oh, so many different people you have to coordinate with, right?
Yeah, once things start going, it's like once the heat start going, that's really like the critical time, because you have a small little detail within that event or that specific heat. Let's say you're on heat 5 and a judge doesn't show up, and so if one team has to wait an additional heat, that affects 20 heats after it, because now you're behind one spot, and now everyone's spaced out.
It's not like you can catch up.
Yes, it's crazy. It's like a domino, right?
Right.
Domino's just completely this.
Oh man! But I'm sure. I mean, through the years, you've come up with a system for if this happens, we do this. If that happens, we do this. Is there
like in business? I guess we try to set it up so we mitigate any possible problems, right? Anyone that's going to organize a competition, if you can maximize your transitions in between heats.
Right.
That's really where it's make or break. You can catch up, or you can solve any issues that is going on in between. Like we did heats on the 30-minute in Long Beach, because we were spaced out between 2 days, and we realized that was awesome. That was perfect.
Oh yeah.
Judges can go to the bathroom, get food.
Right.
You can slide people in
for a minute.
You can breathe. So it's like being in the eye of a storm sometimes.
Yeah. It's really fun, though. It's worth it, for sure.
Yeah. Wow, we covered a lot of ground here. Let's see, are there any other topics that we haven't touched on?
Maybe this one right here.
Yeah, this is a good one, especially for right now, everything that's going on. I know for me personally, like every day is different. I'm sure everyone's got their thing. And every moment I feel like it's different. There's moments where I wake up and I'm like, all right, I'm good. And then something happens and it kind of throws me off my rhythm. In those times of darkness, when something happens, what is your source of light? Like, what is the thing that keeps you going when it just seems like there's no light at the end of the tunnel?
Well,
it's a deep question. You got that one, babe.
Honestly, as we talked yesterday, I've really been struggling. Like I'm military, I've been to overseas, I've been to Iraq. I just could not wrap my head around why I'm so anxious about this virus. And I just realized, my husband has heart condition, my kids, this affects anybody, right? Yeah. My whole goal in my entire life is to keep them safe. That's just me, that's just how I am. That's just my type of person, right? I joined the military because I was like, I'm going to keep everybody in the world safe,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So I've really been having a lot of anxiety lately. And yesterday I talked to my sister-in-law and she was like, sis, you really got to start meditating again. So honestly, yesterday, after we left here, I did Ramwad. I meditated for, I think maybe 5-10 minutes. And then I did a breathing exercise, and then him and I did jujitsu, and then I trained.
Yes, I was going to say, you also trained too. Yeah. I remember seeing that. And he did a lot.
He actually locked me in the garage, and he was like, you're going to train, and you're not going to come out until you're done. So I trained, and then I did another meditation, and I slept better than I have in so long. So I think keeping up with your training, praying, if you're a religious person, I pray all the time. Meditation is amazing, and breathing exercises, because breathing is not only going to help you with your anxiety, but it will also help you if you get COVID-19, because you want your lungs to be super strong and helpful. So that's my advice. That's what's helping me. I woke up today. I haven't been anxious at all today.
That's great. That's awesome.
I woke up, I meditated, I prayed, I did all my, we trained earlier, and I haven't even felt shortness of breath or anything, not one time today. So
that's great.
Yeah. So that's my...
Keep your body moving.
Just keep moving, keep
Stay
busy.
Productive. Exactly. Yeah. Just keep the good inputs coming in, For sure. And I turn the news off from my phone. That's a good one. Yeah.
That helps.
I will not... No. Because every 10 minutes, I'm like, babe, oh my gosh, we've surpassed this, and we've done this. And
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't do it.
There's nothing positive out of the news. These days, it's kind of hard to.
And you can just sense the intention behind the media is not to inform the people for their safety. It's, it's for the views. It's for the fear attracts,
Yes.
My mom was, just focused on the news for a while, and I was like, you got to stop watching that, because that's how they keep you coming back. It's like, I'm worried. I got to know what's going on. I got to know, because that's gonna. And it's a good intention, I think, for people. They want to know what's going on so that they feel like they can be safe. But it's kind of a trap in some ways.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's I think what we need to focus on is what's within our inner circle of control. Because that information is going to come in, and honestly, I don't even know how much of it's true. I've been hearing reports that they're just kind of lumping in deaths with, it's just like, oh, it could be some other reason, but if they have some symptoms, they're just going to count that as a COVID death. You know? And things like that. So really at a certain point, it's like, is this information benefiting me? Is it motivating me? Is it making me feel, proactive? Or is it shutting me down? Is it paralyzing me? And so, because
they don't tell you, I'm not downplaying this virus by any means. It can hit anybody at any time. You don't know how it's going to affect you, right? But if you look on the news, they have a death toll, and they have how many people have it, but they don't have how many people have survived it.
They
should focus on the recovered people. Have nice positive stories every once in a while.
Just a little bit.
Just a bone.
We know it's horrible. We know it's bad. We know people need this and this, and that's, we know that, right? Just give us a little bit of hope. I guess that's my opinion. What about yours?
I guess I told you guys, I think this yesterday, I had a heart attack 2015?
I think so.
2015. And, completely out. I don't know how long I was out.
Yeah, that was a crazy story.
But since that point moving forward, I guess when it comes to, and I always kind of go back to that, and there's been moments, I do have anxiety about different things, or sometimes I'll have anxiety for no reason that I can really know, and that's part of the recovery process for having a heart attack. But because of having a heart attack and that whole experience of being out, I guess I've accepted this idea that we have such little control over what may or may not happen to us. And I just remind myself of that. And, I have my kids close to me. I'm thankful for that. And that gives me a lot of peace. And if I kind of surrender to this idea that, hey, I'm going to do everything I can that's reasonable to protect ourselves and protect the family. Anything beyond that, I don't have any control over anyway. And if it's my time, it's my time. I'm not going to be excited about it, but I can't consume myself with worrying about something I can't control. She reminds me that when Battleground comes around, hey, remember, you're always telling me to calm down.
Well, that's the thing is, I am not an anxious person. We can go through Battleground, and I'm fine. I mean, I went to Iraq. I was fine, never anxious over there. Just thankful to wake up every morning. That's why I could not wrap my head around my anxiety right now. I've never, ever been like this. So And I just had to realize, like, it's because, and I talked to some of my veteran friends about this a little bit today. They think none of them are social workers or anything, but they said that it could possibly be because over there, I was in control in a sense, right? Like I had a weapon, I had a means of protection, right?
And a clear mission and an objective and
exactly. And here it's like sporadic, like nobody knows anything, like it's invisible, like nobody knows who has it, like and it's just I have no control, and that's what I'm like, oh my God, I need control of this, you know?
Yeah.
So it made a lot of sense after that. I was like, oh, okay, that I can see that. I like to be in control.
If over there, she was just worrying about herself. Like if we were there, if her family was there, she'd probably be behaving the same exact way she is now. Super anxious, worried about us.
Right.
So it makes sense to me that she's struggling with this more than I am. But she doesn't have control over what's going on, and she's worrying about us all the time. And I'm a higher risk because of my heart condition, so she's always worried about that too. So I mean,
it makes sense. I mean, the circumstances definitely makes sense to be anxious. It makes sense to be worried. You know, we're everybody's cortisol is a few ticks higher right now. And but I really like your advice, CJ. Meditation, training, moving.
That's the antidote, you know.
That's the medicine right there. You know, like good inputs. You know, do the things that you're in control of. How empowered do you feel? Like I went for a run the other day after watching Dan. Actually, he was running, Dan Umera from Push Press. And he had some really wonderful things to say. He's just like, I like running. For those of you, we CrossFitters, we complain when we got to run 400 meters, but he had some good advice, and I want to just share it here. Running, I was never a fan of running, but right now it's one of the most wonderful ways to just let off some steam. And his advice was really good, which was run at a pace. Running sucks when you're pushing really hard, but if you're just going at a pace where you can keep a conversation, it's actually really nice. Like, not killing yourself, but moving your body.
That's all my runs. Today we had running in our workout, and I was like, I die. I hate running. I hate it. No matter how much I try to love it, it hates me. I'm made for moving things, not really running at fast distances, but I was like, how can I motivate myself to do this whole thing? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to run, and I'm going to run for the people who can't breathe right now, And I
make a game out of it, create a mission around it.
Just do it for whatever you need to, you know? So I finished the 600 after all those horrible cleans and squats. And
See, that's a different kind of running than I was talking about.
Oh, man. It was like 50... It was a 600-meter run, 50 dumbbell squats, and then 50 dumbbell cleans, and then 50 dumbbell squats, and then another 600-meter run.
Oh, yeah.
So your legs are toast.
Your legs are confused when it's time to run. They're like, what do you want me to do?
Skylar did it too, so she's back there suffering.
It's great to get the kids involved.
Yeah. So that's my advice. Just stay busy, train, because you're going to be harder on yourself.
Right.
Because you're not training, then that's going to put you in a bigger depression. Like even if you have to do sit-ups on your floor, you can find something to do in your house. Eat well, because that's also going to make you feel bad.
Right.
If you're just eating junk all day.
Good inputs. Even junk TV and just junk. Digital junk.
And stay off the couch. That's like a end gamer right there. We get on the couch and we're like, we're just gonna stay here. Stay away from the wine fridge too. That's another problem.
I think that pretty much covers it. We touched on a lot of cool stuff here. I'm glad we got to focus more on the Battlegrounds stuff, because just to give people an idea of what's happening behind the scenes, the magic, the production, behind those curtains.
Magic is the word, but
the dark sorcery is this. It's a lot that goes into these events, and so and I learned quite a bit too, actually, and it makes me appreciate it even more and want to get back out there once the doors open up.
Us too.
Well, all right, I think that pretty much wraps it up.
Okay.
Cool.
Do you guys have anything else that you want to add?
Stay home, stay safe.
Yep.
Stay healthy. We'll see you soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
I think that's
Prepare for Battlegrounds.
Yeah.
We're full steam ahead, and I'm looking forward to seeing everyone in September.
Take care of yourself, meditate, train.
Yeah. Keep sharpening the blade.
Yes, because
don't feel like you're alone and disconnected. There's lots of people that are out there that are going through the same thing, and would love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
Or so there's nothing stopping you from reaching out.
Yeah, reach out
to other people to check on them, and I'm sure everything just comes around full circle.
If you need someone to talk to, find me on Instagram at Capital Sarah.
If you need someone to talk to, find her on
I don't mind. I don't mind at all. I love helping people.
Yeah.